Okay. Hello, everyone. Today, we're gonna be talking about interest rates and how it's gonna affect the housing market. We're gonna have a special guest on here. Her name is Jolie. She's a loan officer with Union Home Mortgage. She's about to join here in the next 3 minutes or so. So yeah, here she is. Okay. All right.
Hold
So
on.
sorry about that. Got disconnected there. Okay, now we're good though. So again, I got a special guest here. She's a loan officer at Union Home Mortgage. Her name is Jolly. Jolly.
Jolie, yes.
Jolly. Okay, Jolly. Sorry about that. Jolly.
That's
And tell us a bit about yourself.
okay. So yeah, I've been in the mortgage industry for going on a little over 4 years now. I started a little bit before the pandemic, so I've seen a lot of different changes and the fluctuation in the market in the short amount of time that I've been. So yeah, and I do a lot of business classes, CE classes with my business partner Dan. We do a lot of um, where do agents see themselves being in the next few years, and what can I do to add value and help their business grow as well. So we're seeing a huge shift in trying to get involved in the community again, and that is definitely where a lot of younger agents and loan officers are trying to gravitate towards being more involved. So I'm definitely excited for this year for sure.
Absolutely. So let's get straight into the big questions here. Everyone's wondering. So for this podcast, we want to talk about a little bit about interest rates, how it's affecting house prices, and if right now is even a good time to buy or sell a home or just sit and wait. So first off, a little bit about interest rates. What even are they?
Okay, so I would say if you can't explain something to it a kindergartner, then you don't really understand the concept. So just to break it down in simple terms, it's an additional cost added on to your loan. Usually, it can fluctuate or it's fixed, but it can be determined by your how much is borrowed, the credit score, and also the term of the loan. So loans that are on 20 years, 15 years, most likely are going to have a lower interest rate compared to a 30-year term. I would say when it comes to rates and how they're affecting everything, just to make sure that you are buying in your means. And leave room for that as well. Before the pandemic and everything, and during, we were seeing rates at 1 to 3% in some places,
Yeah.
and unfortunately now places who are people who are buying, who are selling their homes with that they bought for 2%, they're getting a whole different experience. So the market is always fluctuating, and I feel like the main key is to always buy within your means and make sure that you're leaving room for that extra percentage that is going to be cost to you.
Right.
I would
And
say
I always say to
as
add on to that, what's more
mhm,
important than the price of the home at the end of the day is the monthly payments, because at the end of the day you're not stuck with the price of the home per se, you're stuck with the monthly payments. That's something you're stuck with every single day, right? So I feel like
mhm,
interest rates are just another part of the monthly payments to look into. If you know you can afford, if you're making about 10 grand, you can afford 1500 a month, then yeah, that's where you know you're at. If you know you can't
mhm.
afford up to, like, say, a bit higher, like 2 grand with the interest rates, then you know that's something to consider as well.
Yeah, along with rates, a lot of people, they don't pay attention to APR as well, and your
Oh yeah.
APR is something that is crucial and something that you should pay attention to. And if your lender or agent, they're not discussing these things with you, I feel like that's open concept. So your APR is going to be your interest rate plus those fees that are added on at the end. So things like closing cost, points, or insurance, or yeah, pretty much, those escrows, taxes, insurance, those things are
Yeah.
added on. That is with your APR. So you always want to pay attention to that as well, because that can tell you, if you're comparing different lenders, if your APR is dramatically different than another lender, that could maybe open up the conversation of what fees are you actually charging and why is this different than this. Mhm.
Hmm, totally agree with you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Next thing is, how would you say interest rates are affecting the housing market as well as home prices?
Okay.
Like, for instance,
Well,
whenever the interest rates go from like 5% to 7%, how does that in turn affect the it does to the housing market in terms of the prices and whatnot?
So I mean, I guess the obvious answer would be, the higher the rate, the bigger your loan is going to be because, or the longer you're going to be paying on it because of that rate. Um, with buying within your means, I would also add on if you have a good lender, because this is something that I feel like I do with all my clients, is I'm a very big what if person. Okay, when it goes back to interest rates, a big determination of that is your credit score. So we do something that Union Home does is we'll do what ifs, like if you paid X amount on this card, or if you paid this loan down to this amount, it would bring your score up to here, and we would maybe be able to get you a better rate. We want you to have a better rate. So that's something different that we do is we definitely play around with the credit scores and really coach the buyers. I would also say if you have a good lender, they're going to coach you on what the principal is, and if you pay down your principal to an X amount, you're going to be saving interest, on in goal. I would also say, depending on how long you're going to be in that house, if you only plan on being in the home for 3, maybe 5 years, communicate those things to your lender, because there may be products in store for those things that could help you and save you on those rates.
Right. You know what? And I was kind of curious because a lot of people wondering about this too. A lot of people are suggesting that doing an ARM adjustable rate mortgage might be a good thing to do. What are your thoughts on doing adjustable rate mortgage? Is that ever a good option?
Yeah, for sure. I do love ARMs. I think it is really great once you have somebody and they're interested in all the products and they don't know what's best for them. One thing that I do is I do like a consultation with all my clients. Hey, what is your goal? How long do you plan on staying in this house? How much do we have to work with? Where are you financially, emotionally to this house? Some people get real connected to these houses, and they don't want to sell. They don't want to, so having a really in-depth consultation to get an idea of what their goals are, so that way I can present a product. A lot of times with lenders, it's almost backwards. I feel like they just apply for a random product, and then that lender will say, oh, you're either qualified or not qualified, versus tell me your situation, let me see your credit score, let's see what we have to work with, and here's 3 different products that would just suit your situation to a T. I feel like we can add more options there.
And to add to that, selling a home is always an emotional process. I feel like that's something a lot of real estate agents as well as loan officers and lenders don't get, because no one wakes up one day and they decide, oh, the housing market's good right now, I'm going to go ahead and sell. Like that never happens. It's always a reason for it. Either it's because they want to get to XYZ place, maybe they want to move closer to family, maybe they're just tired of owning a big old home, like a lot of like elderly couples. A lot of times we see they want to downsize. So I feel like home selling is never just like an investment. It's always more so something that's done out of emotions rather than just, oh yeah, time to cash out on our equity,
Yeah, no, I completely get it. With being a loan officer, I never thought I'd also be a marriage counselor. There is so many times. There's so many times when I've been in a loan and
oh yeah, tell me about it. Yeah,
it gets spicy. It gets very sticky, or a lot, especially if they want different things or they can't compromise, or you keep losing deals, or your heart gets broken, you get set on something, you get envision your family growing here. And
I know. I went to one sale. It was the most awkward thing ever. I went to a listing presentation with a couple that was going through a divorce, and it's so awkward whenever it's like, in this scenario, the wife, she was dead set, like, we're selling this home, blah blah blah, and we're getting a divorce. The guy, the husband, he was kind of like, just there, just being kind of silent and just almost looking kind of depressed, and it was just such an awkward thing,
Yeah,
because
no,
it's like it's just like the feeling, the vibe is tense,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I completely get it. And I think that shows the importance of having an educated agent or an educated lender, because it is
Absolutely.
emotional. It is emotional. And when your emotions are heightened and there's a lot of things happening and you have to make decisions and you need this document or that document, or having an agent who is willing to fight for you and having a lender to walk you through the entire process, I think is very crucial, because it helps take that stress, that emotional stress away. You get to actually indulge in the happy emotions. We get to take some of that weight off.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a huge burden. Like I say,
Mhm.
home selling is always emotional. Most of the time, it's negative. It very
Mhm.
rarely is it actually positive. There's like, if you were to get a list of 100 reasons why people sell their home, the list is probably like 90% bad, 10% good. Whereas
Mhm.
with buying, it's a little bit more so 50-50, I'd say. Usually it's good. I'd say it's more positive. That's why you see a lot
Mhm.
of agents and lenders. They probably prefer to work with someone who's buying a home instead, because sellers is a lot more like, they're like this, more like
Mhm.
that. They're a lot more like snappy. Typically, they're going a lot. Like I always say, it's like you know one's definitely going to a lot, whereas the other is typically going to. One is selling to pain, right? Sellers are going to pain, whereas buyers is more so in the pleasure.
Mhm. Mhm.
One more thing I like to ask you here: will the interest rates go up or down in the future? What's your predictions for that?
Well, I definitely can't predict nationally or anything like that because they're always changing. But just from what we're seeing in Oklahoma, as a whole, I feel like Oklahoma's rates, they're staying steady. I don't feel like that, they're not skyrocketing right now. They're steady, which I feel like is how it should be right now. But also prices in Oklahoma, they're gradually decreasing as a whole.
Oh yeah.
So back to your question on whether it was to buy, sell, or wait, some along those lines, now would be a great time to buy. um
Absolutely. Let me actually share with y'all. I did a live stream. Believe it was last week, about how the home prices are dropping. Let me
mhm,
show this on screen so we can actually get a little visual representation here. So back in May and June and April, we see home prices. They were at an all-time high. We're getting close to 260K.
yeah.
In the last like few, it's crazy how much it changed in the last like 5 months, because now we see it went all the way down, a steady 15 grand a decrease,
Mhm,
down to 240 grand.
mhm.
So I feel like that really just kind of shows how interest rates can, affect home prices.
Yes, and not only that, but if you're buying within your means, you you are investing in that. So the quicker you can have that equity, one of the fastest ways to buy the next property is with your current property. I mean, that's getting that equity out and using that either as an investment or selling and building or purchasing the next property. Whatever it is, you got to start somewhere. And
Yeah.
so what I see happening is the people that are the I'm going to wait people, what does that look like? If you're not buying or you're not selling and you're not investing, what does waiting look like? Are you trying to prepare? Are you talking with someone who's educated and knows what you need to do in X amount of time to get to where you're wanting to be so that you can buy and invest? And I'm strongly against waiting, but if you are waiting and you're not in that place, I would say make sure you're doing the most of that time while you're waiting, so that way you can jump on an opportunity when it presents itself.
Right. And I won't
Mhm.
educate people too much on why it's better to buy versus rent. We pretty much, everyone in this business knows it's always better to buy if you could buy, of course, because you're,
Mhm.
you know, making payments towards something that is going to eventually, build your wealth. You could decide if you want to sell it, cash out equity, rent it out, versus
Mhm.
where renting, you're just making the payments to build someone else's wealth, and you're not building your own wealth and your own, like,
Mhm.
equity as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No,
So
I can get it.
yeah. So one more thing here. I know we're getting close to your time. You gotta go here. So with that said, you kind of touched on this earlier, but is it right
Hmm.
now a good time to buy, sell home, or wait? What would this wait one at a time? Is right now a good time to buy a home?
Yes, I would say so. Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. Even
with
with the interest rates being 7.5% on average, you'd still say
yes,
so?
yes, I
Okay.
do. Your interest. I mean, I know people are very concerned about rates, but once you have somebody who can educate you on what putting $50 extra towards your principal can do to your interest, there are ways to to get around that. And now's the time to buy. They're steady, even though they're at 7.5, 8%, like you said. As long as you're buying within your means, it's an investment, no matter the way you look at it.
So you're saying even if you get a house at 7.5%, it's a lot better to get it at, say, maybe like 230 grand. Whereas if you were to get it at 5% interest rates at like 260 grand, or no, 270 grand.
Could you say that again for me? I'm sorry. What are you asking?
Would you agree that it's better to buy a home at 250K at 7.5% interest rate as to buying a home at 270K, but you get it at 5% interest rate?
Well, I think a lot of it, I mean, there's a lot as a lender side. You're looking at it from an agent side. What is that home appraising for? How long, all those houses that or I'm sorry, all those questions that I ask in my consultation. How long are you planning on staying in the home? All those things. I think that those would be the questions to ask to determine what home would be the best home for you, instead of focusing so much on that rate, because that rate, it's going to go up and down. Even if you don't have an arm per se, or fluctuating rate.
Yeah.
Over the course of the economy, your rates are going to be going up and down. So buying within your means, and like you mentioned, that focusing on that monthly payment and paying your principal down so that you can either invest in that next property or get that equity that you've put into that house.
Right. Yeah, because at the day you're making payments, but it's all coming back to you at the end of the day. Sort of like
Right.
an investment, And so for
Mhm.
sellers, is right now a bad time to sell, or would it be better for them to sell now? Is it better for them to wait, or just what do you think on that?
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a bad time. I'm not a big believer in a good time or a bad time for either option. But through the pandemic, that's when we saw the high rise in the selling. That's when that was a seller's market. So
Yeah.
now it's starting to shift into the buyer's market. So it's more of a time to buy right now. But it's good. Mortgages and buying and selling, it's going to go on continuously forever.
Yeah, make a very good point. So I know we're getting to right here, so I want to wrap it up because I know you gotta go here in a second. What no. So what do you offer again, and how should people best contact you if they're looking to buy or do anything real estate in the financial side of things?
Yeah, for sure. So I do a plethora of things, but my main is mortgages, residential. I can work with you on credit, kind of figure out where you're at. I also work one-on-one with agents, specifically newer agents, on building their business, doing a business plan. My business partner is Dan Pereira. He's out in Edmond, but he does a lot of CE classes, parties for profit. So he does a lot of getting in the community, and I'm very grateful I'm around that all the time because he pushes me to do that as well. So we, like I said, do one-on-ones with agents to build their business. If agents are getting business, and then it's going around for the whole industry, if you think about it, loan officers,
Right.
title companies. And as far as questions or needing to reach out to me, we can put my number in here. That's okay. But you can text me. But it's 405-481-5539. But yeah, you can text me with any questions, and we can definitely work together on something.
Let's get that written down again. So that's 405-481. What else?
5539.
5539. 5539. And what's a good email if someone wants to email you?
Yeah, for sure. So my email right now is J Stewart.
Wait, what were you saying?
It's J Stewart, Stewart.
J Stewart. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
At uhm.com.
UHN.com.
Union Home Mortgage. So UHM.
UHN. Okay. And I'll put that in the description as well. So for anyone looking to buy a home, we got a great lender here in Oklahoma area. She helps with all things mortgage, financial. You got any questions about principles, what it's an arm, all that stuff? She's the girl to go to for that.
Yeah.
And again, I really appreciate you coming on the stream with me, and we hope to have you
Thank you.
here in the future so we can talk more about financial side, real estate, all that good stuff.
That sounds great. Well, I appreciate you having me, and this is a great opportunity. And I see what you're doing with your business, and you're doing great. So I like to surround myself with like-minded people. So thank you.
Right. And again, just so I got it right, your name's Jolly, right?
No, 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 not at all. It's Jolie, Jole. Yeah.
Okay, I'll get it eventually. Sorry. Okay.
It's
Okay, but Jolie is the girl to go to for all that stuff, and we appreciate you coming on the stream today.
all right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, you have a good one. Okay. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on the stream today. I felt like it was very valuable. Hopefully, you guys got some great insight on the real estate market as well as interest rates and how that affects the home market. If you guys have any questions for mortgage or one, feel free to go to her for all that stuff and reach out to me if you're ever looking to buy or sell a home. Would love to talk with you, or if you're looking to get your real estate license, start your career. I'm also your guy to go to for that as well. All right. With that said, you guys all stay safe. Have a blessed one and peace.